US secretly conducted a successful test of hypersonic missile in mid-March aimed at the ongoing Ukraine-Russia war. A local media report revealed on Tuesday. The test comes soon after the Russia claimed it launched its homegrown long-range missile to attack ammo storage in western Ukraine during its invasion of Ukraine. As per the report, a hypersonic air-breathing weapon concept HAWC was launched from a B-52 bomber off the west coast of the country. US has resumed its focus on hypersonic weapons, compounding concerns in Washington that the US is lagging behind on missile hardware deemed essential for the future. Senior White House officials designing the strategy to confront Russia have begun quietly debating a new concern: that the avalanche of sanctions directed at Moscow, which has gained speed faster than they imagined, is concerning President Vladimir Putin and may prompt him to lash out, perhaps expanding the conflict beyond Ukraine. At the time of the US test, Biden was preparing for a visit to NATO allies in Europe, including a stop in Poland where he met with Ukraine's foreign minister and defense minister. Reportedly, this is the first fruitful test of the Lockheed Martin version of the hypersonic air-breathing weapon concept HAWC that was fired through a B-52 bomber located on the west coast, according to a source. The weapon was driven to incredible speed using a rocket before the motor was fired and shot at a hypersonic velocity of Mach 5. The authorities gave few specifications about the test launch, saying that it flew at a height of over 65,000 feet and for more than 300 kilometers. However, at 3,800 kilometers per hour, a 300 kilometers journey takes about 5 minutes, even at the lower end of the hypersonic spectrum. The test comes soon after the Russia claimed it launched its homegrown long-range missile to attack ammo storage in western Ukraine during its invasion of Ukraine. US officials devalued the importance of the Russian application of the hypersonic Kinzhal missile. After the announcement of Russia regarding the rocket launch, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said he didn't think it was some type of game changer. The hypersonic air-breathing weapon concept HAWC was launched from a B-52 bomber off the west coast, the official said. In the first successful test of the Lockheed Martin version of the system, a booster engine accelerated the missile to high speed, at which point the air-breathing scramjet engine ignited and propelled the missile at hypersonic speeds of Mach 5 and above. The US test was of a more sophisticated and difficult air-breathing scramjet engine. The HAWC missile also has no warhead, instead relying on its kinetic energy to destroy the target. Navigating between the aiding Ukraine and avoiding an escalation with Moscow has led to a tangle of decisions and sometimes tortured distinctions over weapons and other elements of the policy. The US military has cancelled a test of its Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile that it had initially aimed only to delay in a bid to lower nuclear tensions with Russia during the war in Ukraine. The Air Force told Reuters on April 1st. Washington said at the time it was important both the United States and Russia bear in mind the risk of miscalculation and take steps to reduce those risks. The new US aid for Ukraine includes a wide range of military equipment ranging from 25,000 sets of each of the body armor and the helmets to rifles and grenade launchers, thousands of other anti-tank weapons, and more than 20 meters round of ammunition. Besides Javelin missiles, the most powerful weapons include 800 Stinger anti-aircraft systems, once famously used to shoot down Soviet planes in Afghanistan. As the culprit and leading instigator of the Ukraine crisis, the US has led NATO to engage in 5 rounds of eastward expansion in the last 2 decades after 1999. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zoe Legion told reporters that at a daily briefing Friday, the US, Russia and China have all looked to further develop hypersonic missiles system so fast that it cannot be intercepted by any current missile defense system. The Russian president has its own complex calculus about when the military support to Ukraine from the United States and its NATO allies crosses the line. He has his own reasons not to escalate given the combined power of the NATO members and its own military evident difficulties against the Ukrainian forces. But he is also unlikely to accept defeat or a stalemate in Ukraine without further testing American resolve. Despite explicit public warnings from Washington against the use of chemical, biological, or even nuclear weapons, during a December 15 flight test, the Air Force attempted to launch an AGM-183A Air-Launched Rapid Response Weapon (ARRW) booster from B-52 bomber, but an unknown issue caused the launch sequence to be aborted before the booster was released, the service said in a statement. The missile will return to the factory and analysis of the telemetry and onboard data will begin immediately. The Air Force said the program will seek to resume flight tests as quickly as possible. This $73 billion budget request reinforces our commitment to the concept of integrated deterrence, allows us to better sequence and conduct operations around the globe that are aligned to our priorities, modernizes the joint force, and delivers meaningful support for our dedicated workforce and their families.